Hello everyone, this is Jed Shlackman, and in this segment I'll be exploring the topic of past lives and regression therapy. This is a topic that's been a significant part of my professional work and interest that I've had for many years. So I'll give a little bit of background upon how I came into this subject or topic and how I began to practice regression therapy. My professional career began with studies of psychology and counseling at the University of Miami. So I was very much interested in psychology and human development and consciousness. And as I progressed along that path, I was kind of catalyzed, you could say, or inspired to look into the spiritual, the metaphysical realm, and to gain a greater understanding of how our human life fit into a larger spiritual or metaphysical context. So this involved looking at different religious traditions and spiritual traditions and encountering information relative to subjects like past lives and reincarnation, meditation, near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. So all these subjects that kind of transcend ordinary psychology, what you might refer to as transpersonal psychology, as well as parapsychology, which is where we encounter things that people may sometimes consider paranormal, although they are really just part of an expanded understanding of reality and existence. So back around that time I was exploring some of the mystical traditions, things like Jewish Kabbalah, the Essene movement in early Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism. So these different spiritual and metaphysical teachings that examine our life experience from that deeper perspective. And in this process I encountered the work of people like Brian Weiss and Michael Newton and other authors who were therapists, psychologists, or psychiatrists, individuals who had started to explore this more spiritual aspect of healing, seeing how these things that are deep in our subconscious are impacting our life here in the present, and understanding how we can access that subconscious part of our mind, that deeper part of ourself, our memories, to foster healing or transformation. So regression therapy is a type of therapy that usually works with hypnosis to guide people into these states of consciousness where they're able to connect with or access those deep memories from the soul level, also sometimes connecting with the spiritual realm, with spiritual beings or guides who also provide some support in the healing process. This is something that really we all have access to. We all go through a range or spectrum of consciousness on a daily basis. So we have the period where we're asleep, where our normal waking conscious mind is at rest, and we're having experiences from a different level, a different layer of our consciousness. So we're never completely unconscious per se. We're just operating from different layers of consciousness depending on the level of stimulation or activity of the physical body. So when the physical body is in its active, alert state, then our consciousness is tuned into the physical environment to our external physical surroundings. However, when the physical body is in a state of deep rest, then our focus of consciousness shifts. We're no longer focused external to the physical body. We're kind of letting go of our concern for the physical body and connecting to purely non-physical realms, which you might call your subconscious and superconscious levels of mind. And at the superconscious level, there is ultimately only one infinite field of consciousness where everyone and everything is unified. So you could call that the unified field or the God consciousness that really encompasses everything, all of existence. So if we were able to get into that very deep state, then we can access things from that superconscious level that transcends the ego, the personality, the individuated human self. So we could think of it as the one spirit realm of self or being, which people often refer to as God. When we experience states of meditation or hypnosis or other activities or other resources that help lead us into those states, then our consciousness can tap into things that it would ordinarily not be able to access. So this is something that's very valuable. It's very useful in the healing process. It's also helpful for people that are creative, that are artistic, that are filled with ingenuity or innovation. So if you want to connect with information or inspiration, it helps to practice different meditative skills, different arts of shifting your consciousness in that way. So whether you're using this type of state for accessing past life memories or for some other purpose, it's a valuable skill to cultivate. When we think of past lives, we're normally thinking in linear terms. So you think of your current lifetime as your present life, and then any other lifetime that occurred in what you would look back upon as history, as something having occurred previously on this timeline. You would think of that as a past life. And then any lifetime that would be occurring at a future point along the timeline, you might consider that a future lifetime. However, from the soul's point of view, time is kind of an illusion. It's not constricted to the way we perceive it. So from the spiritual realms, time doesn't flow the same way we experience it flowing here. You can actually connect with any time, past, present, or future, from the spiritual realm. So people can sometimes connect with a possible future. People can connect with different parallel or alternate realities when they're going through the spiritual plane. So if you go into this type of regression experience, don't assume that the only thing you could potentially access is past memories. You could access visions or images or impressions of experiences from what we would think of as the future. You can also connect with other dimensions, other realms, other planets, and so on. So there's really no limit to what consciousness can connect with. In the process of hypnosis, what I and other therapists are doing is using different cues and stimuli to help you shift your focus of awareness. So to help the mind let go of its concern for the external five sense world and to begin to connect with what you could call your imagination or your inner vision. And once you're able to access that inner focus of awareness, then you can start to use it for envisioning creatively, for imagining things, and also for accessing memories. So memories and imagination are not really that much different from one another. They come from pretty much the same state of consciousness. With a memory, you're just accessing something that you've previously experienced, whereas imagination isn't limited. It could be connecting to any possible reality. For the exercise that I'll be guiding you through, your job is to just let go, to relax, to surrender to the process, to be open to the guidance that I'm giving, free to use all of your inner senses, and free to just perceive and experience whatever is coming into your consciousness without having any need to judge it, without questioning it, without really analyzing it, just giving yourself the permission, the freedom to be present with it, to let those senses guide you even further and deeper into that state of awareness. Regression therapy can be used to heal a variety of psychological and even physical concerns. Really everything that's occurring in our life is influenced by some deeper level of our consciousness. So your behaviors, your habits, your emotional reactions, your preferences and desires, all of these different things that make up important parts of our lives are affected by subconscious layers of our mind. Also, our physical body is governed and controlled by a subconscious or deeper level of consciousness. So we're not consciously thinking about every little bit of activity occurring in our body. Our conscious control of our body is somewhat limited. In any moment we can consciously choose how we want to move our body. We can consciously influence our breathing and some other things. But for the most part, all the activity in our body is occurring unconsciously. We're not consciously telling each of the cells in our body how to acquire nourishment, how to clear out toxins. So we're not consciously telling our heart how to beat. All of these things are being managed and modulated without our conscious attention or effort. So often there are subconscious things occurring that influence what's happening in our body. Pretty much all of the common physical health issues, diseases, and disorders are in some way connected to some pattern or imbalance that may exist in the field of consciousness. And often through regression we're able to get to the root of a particular pattern, to understand where some particular condition or illness originates from, what purpose it may serve, and then giving us an opportunity to reprocess some prior experience so that we can release whatever we may be carrying within us that's contributing to an illness. So this is another valuable resource or another potential that exists in applying regression therapy. I like to call it spiritual regression therapy, since we're connecting with our own spiritual guidance, our own deeper inner awareness, and that could bring us to any part of our consciousness, to any memory that may be relevant for our own personal growth or healing process. So I hope that this overview has given you some understanding about how regression therapy works, a little deeper non-linear insight into the idea or concept of reincarnation, recognizing that our soul can have hundreds or thousands or millions of incarnations, and those incarnations, in one sense, all coexist simultaneously. From your soul's point of view, your current lifetime and any past or future lifetimes can all be observed and accessed. And often there are particular patterns or energies in one lifetime that are in resonance with similar patterns, memories, or experiences from other lifetimes. So there are certain themes, certain archetypes that our soul is exploring, seeking to understand more deeply and master more fully. So that's how we often look at this process of reincarnation. It's an opportunity for deeper understanding through experience, for greater mastery. And from that point of view, there's ultimately nothing bad or wrong about the things you've experienced. It's all part of a learning process, kind of like a spiritual school system to help the soul develop further, to help enhance our creative potential.